His name is Yahuwah. Exodus 23:13. The word or title God is German. What if I told you that the word God never came out of the mouth of Moshe or Moses? The word God never came out of the mouth Yahushua, the Messiah, and it didn't even exist when Yahushua walked the face of the earth 2,000 years ago. Could you prove me wrong? Today, I am going to show you from a historical and biblical perspective as to how we all have been tricked into calling our Creator Yahuwah Elohim by a German pagan title, God. Many may not be familiar with the term pagan. Let me allow the scriptures to quickly and briefly explain. Read along with me. In the book of Jeremiah or Yeremiah, chapter 10, verse 2, King James Version says, "Thus says Yahuwah," not Lord, "learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of Shamaim or heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them." New King James says, "Thus says Yahuwah, learn not the way of the Gentiles, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven or Shamaim, for the Gentiles are dismayed at them." So the Gentiles are the heathen, and the heathens are the Gentiles. They are one and the same. Then in the book of Matthew or Matthew chapter 6, verse 7, New International Version, when you palau, or as they say, pray, do not keep on babbling like the pagans, for they think that they will be heard because of their many words. New Living Translation, when you palau, do not babble on and on as the Gentiles. So the Gentiles are the pagans, and the pagans are the Gentiles, which are the heathen. They are all one and the same. Then according to Genesis chapter 10, verse 1 through 5, verse 5 says, "By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their land: Riphath, Togarmah, Magog, Ashkenazi, Gog, Rosh, Tubal, you name it." Look in the upper left-hand corner of the map. Who are the biblical Gentiles? You see it in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. And these are the very ones, the Gentiles of the Bible, who we were not to learn their ways. With all love and respect to all humanity, who owns the modern printing presses that prints the very Bibles that we read? The same people that you see on the map, with love and respect, and we were not to learn their ways. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 1, verse 1. And let's get to the heart of the matter here. "Whereas many and great things have been delivered unto us by the law and the prophets, and by others that have followed their steps, for the which things Yisrael ought to be commended for learning and wisdom, and whereof not only the readers must need become skillful themselves, but also that they desire to learn to be able to profit them which are without, both speaking and writing. By my grandfather, it is Yahushua." The letter J was not created until the year 1524. That's over 1,524 years after the New Testament was written and completed. Let's continue. My grandfather Yahushua or Joshua, when he had much given himself to the reading of the law and the prophets and other books and of our fathers, and had gotten therein good judgment, was drawn on also himself to write something pertaining to learning and wisdom, to the intent that those which are desirous to learn and are addicted to these things might profit much more in living according to the law. Wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words which we have labored to interpret. Listen. For the same things uttered in Hebrew, Abari, and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. For in the 8th and 30th coming into Mitzrayim or Egypt, it goes on and on. So when they translated our manuscripts from the original Abari or Hebrew language, and they translated it into many different languages, there is no small difference. There is a large difference of understanding. The word and title God is Germanic or German in origin. Pay attention. I went to Google and I asked them which came first, the Germanic language or the English language. English is classified as a West Germanic language, meaning it evolved from the older Germanic root. Proto-Germanic originated around 500 BC, while English emerged centuries later as the tribes migrated to where? Britain, which is the Isles of the Gentiles. Both languages ultimately share the same Proto-Germanic ancestry. The ancestry Proto-Germanic spoken around 500 BC, this parent tongue eventually broke into 3 branches: East, North, and West Germanic. The evolution of English around the 5th century AD. Germanic tribes, Anglo-Saxons and Jutes, migrated to Britain, bringing their languages with them. These dialects eventually blended into Old English, the evolution of modern German language. The language spoken in modern Germany developed separately on the continent from many different mainland Western Germanic dialects, such as Old High German. So I further asked the internet, did the German or Germanic language exist before Yahushua walked the face of the earth? And we're going to deal with this Jesus, but stay with me. Yes, this is exactly correct. The ancestral Germanic language existed well before Yahushua walked the face of the earth. By the time Christ or Messiah walked the face of the earth around 2,000 years ago, Proto-Germanic had already been spoken for centuries and was being split into 2 distinct regional dialects. 500 BC, Proto-Germanic emerged as a distinct language in the southern Scandinavia and northern Germany. 1st century BC AD, Germanic tribes were actively expanding and interacting with who? The Roman Empire. 5th century AD, the specific West Germanic dialects that would what family become English finally crossed over to Britain. So to put it in perspective, 5th century would be around 500 years after Yahushua walked the face of the earth did they create or invent the English language. Then 500 years after the Messiah walked the face of the earth, the English language was created and invented. It was not until another 1,524 years did an Italian, which are the Gentiles, create or invent the letter J by putting a hook on the bottom of the letter I. So it would have been impossible for the Messiah's true name to have been Jesus, because the letter J did not exist or was not invented until 1,524 years after Yahushua walked the face of the earth. Google stated that every single one of my points is historically accurate. The word God is strictly Germanic. So why would we be referring to our Creator by a German dialect or a German name? God is strictly Germanic. The English language did not exist or emerge until 400 years. It's really close to 500 years after the Messiah walked the face of the earth. So pronunciations such as Lord or God or Jesus was not in the original manuscripts. Be circumspect and make no mention of the name of other mighty ones, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. The origin of the word God. The English word God has no roots in ancient Hebrew, which is Abari, Greek, or Latin. The Germanic root derives from the Proto-Germanic root Gouda. The evolution of this ancestral root evolved into Got in modern Germanic, God in Dutch, and God in Old English. Pagan beginnings. Before the Germanic tribes converted to Christianity, they used this word to refer to their pagan deities, or that which invoked during sacrifices. When Christian missionaries translated the text for these tribes, they adopted the existing Germanic word God to represent the Creator. Timeline of the English language. You are correct, meaning me. The English language did not exist during Christ's lifetime. The arrival is around 450 AD. It's between 450 to 500 years did the English language, was it invented or evolved. The Messiah's true name is not Jesus. Jesus is a stronghold. The letter J was invented 1,524 years after Yahushua walked the face of the earth. You see it there. The Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes migrated to Britain in the mid-5th century. The gap is roughly 400 years, meaning the language used to write modern English Bibles did not exist when the biblical events took place. We must be circumspect and not to make mention of the names of other mighty ones, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth, because the original books were written in ancient Abari, Hebrew, or Aramaic, and the New Testament was written in Koine Greek. All of these languages, family, are concrete languages. They're not abstract. Abstract meaning one word can have several different meanings. That's what English is. It's a unpure language. You see? Book of Isaiah or Yeshayahu, chapter 65, verse 11, Standard King James Version. Listen, but you are they that forsake Yahuwah, not Lord, that forsake my Kwadosh, so-called holy mountain, that prepare a table for that troop, and that furnish drink offerings unto that number. What I want you to pay attention to is the word troop. Troop. This is what Standard King James says. The New King James Version states, but you are those who forsook Yahuwah, who forgot my Kadosh mountain, who prepare a table for Gad, and who furnish drink offerings for many. So New King James Version, instead of using the word troop, uses the word Gad. Let's look this word troop and or Gad up. What does this mean? Now let us peel back a layer and see what this word troop or Gad actually is. Using a interlinear Bible, which takes every word in our modern English versions of the scriptures and it traces it back to the original Abari, Aramaic, or Hebrew words. And it traces every word in the New Testament, the renewed covenant, the Brit Kadashah, back to the original Koine Greek languages. What does this word troop or Gad mean? Let's see. Isaiah 65 verse 11. Look on the very bottom, YHWH, forsaking and you. It says mountain. What we want to look at is this word Gad. See it there? It means what, family? Fortune, as in money. Let's click on it. Strong's Hebrew number 1409. What does it mean? Original word, noun, masculine. Gad, phonetic spelling, God. God. G-A-W-D is pronounced as G-O-D. And what does it mean? Fortune, as in money. Why do you think on the back of your dollar bills it says, in God or G-O-D we trust? But God is not who we refer to as in the sky or heaven. God was a name that the pagans, which are the Germans, named their deity. And this is where English forms from. It originated from the Germanic language, which were the pagans. Pay attention. Fortune, exhaustive Strong's Concordance, troop, God, in the sense of what? Distributing fortune as in money. Let's see how this word is pronounced. Blue Letter Bible, Strong's Hebrew Concordance number 1409, Gad or God. Let's see. How is this pronounced? G-A-W-D. Listen.
Strong's H 1409. God. God. Strong's H 1409. God. God.
Which is a pagan deity. Be circumspect and make no mention of the name of other mighty ones, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. We should not be referring to the Creator as God. Further Strong's definitions in the sense of what? Distributing fortune. God as in money. Let's go another level to see who and what this God is. Strong's H 1409. Good fortune, Arabic, Aramic. Buy with good fortune. Hebrew Chaldee lexicon. Fortune, fortunate, rich. You see it there. There's more. Let us expose who and what this God, which means fortune or money, is. Book of Enoch, chapter 69. And what we want to focus on is verse 6. And the name of the third is God Riel. This is the one that showed all the unaliving blows to the sons of men. And he led astray Kawa, called Eve, and he showed the weapons of unaliving to the children of men, the shields and the breastplates and the swords for the slaughter, and all the weapons of unaliving to men. Who was in the garden? Who is the one that deceived Eve? Satan's true name is God. His full name is God Riel. He is the one that deceived the entire world. The only time I mention this name is for teaching purposes. Be circumspect and make no mention of the names of other mighty ones, neither let it be heard out of your mouths. Why do you think in Revelations or Hazun chapter 12 verse 9 it states, and that great dragon which was cast out, that old serpent which is called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth who? The entire world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Satan's true name is God, and he deceived the entire world. We should never refer to our Creator by a pagan title, the title and the name of Satan, which is God. His full name is God Riel. The Creator's name is not God, and he has no association with a evil or demonic title. In the book of Shemot or Exodus chapter 3, let's look at verse 14. And Elohim said unto Moshe, I am that I am. And he said, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Yisrael, I am have sent me unto you. And Elohim said moreover unto Moshe, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Yisrael, Yahuwah Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Yitzchak, the Elohim of Jacob, have sent me unto you. This is my name and memorial unto all generations. So when you look up, I am who I am, or I am that I am, it's Strong's Concordance Hebrew number, I am 1961 in the Hebrew, which is Yah. And when it says, I am that I am, or who I am, that word who or that in the Hebrew is Strong's Concordance Hebrew number 1931, who. And then it says, the last I am is Strong's Hebrew Concordance number 1933. So you have Strong's Concordance Hebrew number 1961, Strong's Concordance number Hebrew number 1931, Strong's Concordance Hebrew number 1933. I am who I am, which is Ahaya Asher Ahaya, which is Yahuwah, is the Creator's true name. Be circumspect and make no mention of the names of other mighty ones, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. When you know better, you do better. Remove these pagan titles and Germanic titles off of your lips. The Creator's name was and is Yahuwah, and the name of his Son, the Savior of the world, there's the concordance numbers right there, 1961, 1933, 1933, and 1934. Ahaya Asher Ahiah, which is Yahuwah. We must remove the strongholds of pagan Lord and Jesus from off of our lips. And I will be doing future lessons on this in the next day or so, dealing with Lord and Jesus. It is a stronghold. The Messiah's true name is, as you see on the screen, Yahushua, which means Yahuwah saves, or Yahuwah is salvation. Note, or Exodus 23 verse 13. And in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect and make no mention of the names of other mighty ones, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. The only time I use those pagan titles is for teaching purposes and none else. Book of Joshua, his original name was Yahushua, just like the Messiah, chapter 24, verse 15. Listen, and if it seems evil unto you to serve Yahuwah Elohim, choose you this day whom ye will serve, whether the Elohims which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the Elohim of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahuwah Elohim. Book of Hebrews, or Arbari, chapter 10, verse 26. For if we sin willfully, that after we receive the knowledge of the truth, there remains no more sacrifices for your sins. Book of Proverbs, chapter 30, verse 4. What is his name? And what is his son's name, if thou can tell? The Creator's name is Yahuwah, and his son's name is Yahushua, which means Yahuwah saves, or Yahuwah is salvation. Now that you know the truth, to whom much is given, much is required. And now that you've come into the knowledge of the truth, you can't go back to your old ways. Now the truth has been revealed to you. What name will you refer to the Heavenly Father from now on? Comment below, but please keep it respectful. Much love to all humanity. Thank you for spending time with me. Share this with those that you feel this would edify. Much love and respect to all. Until next time, family. Much love. Shalom.